Chicago conjures up too many stereotypes to count. You've got your hipster areas, preppy places, neighborhoods where college kids live, and of course, ghettos. It seems as if there's a neighborhood for everyone in Chicago. So the question arises, which Chicago neighborhoods are the best and which are the worst? Today we'll use science and data to determine which Chicago hoods need a little TLC. You know, the shittiest parts of Chicago. You know, you can tell a lot about our neighborhood by how broke people are and how bad the crime is. We'll use those as our measuring sticks. So join us as we take a tour of Chicago's worst neighborhoods. Our first stop on our worst tour through Chicago starts in Chatham, a hood that's located between 79th and 93rd Streets along 90-94. About 1 in 7 people in this neighborhood doesn't have a job, and homes sell for less than $150,000 each. Crime is so bad here that local business owners say the gang war is destroying their way of life. Do you think Mr. Rogers would go into this neighborhood? The answer is no. No, he wouldn't. Our next stop on our crummy tour through Chicago takes us to Grand Crossing, a hood with 32,000 people located between 67th and 79th. It's near the lake, but you wouldn't want to go near it. Income levels are around 31 grand, and homes average about 140,000. They certainly won't be throwing any parades in Grand Crossing anytime soon, that's for sure. Continuing our journey through the worst Chicago neighborhoods, we come to West Garfield Park. To get there, head due west on Madison Street past the United Center. Here, most of the residents live at or below poverty, and you have a 1 in 20 chance of being the victim of a crime here. Would a baby go into this neighborhood alone? That's a baby. Don't listen to anything he says. The Chicago Lawn neighborhood is next on our list. It's too bad that the entire area that surrounds Marquette Park near Midway is such a bad neighborhood. This is the 8th most dangerous hood in Chicago, and homes are valued at only about 140 grand as a result. On the bright side, only 10% of the residents in Chicago Lawn are out of work. That's still twice the national average, but good for the worst Chicago neighborhoods. Gage Park certainly is no walk in the park when you consider the stats. This area west of Fuller Park between 51st and 59th Streets is very dangerous and poor. Families bring in about $38,000 a year. But people in Gage Park are the richest of any of the other neighborhoods we're going to talk about, which puts into perspective how poor lots of areas are in Chicago. Hey yo, this video is brought to you in part by Clippers on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Riverdale. Come on and get your hair done, they do it tight and right. That's Clippers on MLK. G. Continuing our tour of the worst parts of Chicago, we stop at Fuller Park, located on both sides of 90-94 between East Pershing and West Garfield. Want to play a joke on your friends? Tell them you're going to go to Fuller Park for a house party and watch their reactions. There's only about 3,000 people packed into this little hood where you might just get blown away for wearing the wrong hat. The Winslows certainly wouldn't live in Fuller Park, and you wouldn't even find the Bundys living here either. Here in the densely packed neighborhood of Auburn Gresham, about 1 in 5 people refuses to work, and just about everybody's broke. When you Google the place, it auto-suggests gang activity and crime. That's not good. To get there, take a car to roughly somewhere between 75th and 91st Streets. Try not to drive over anybody's lawn. Been spending most of their lives living in the gangster's paradise. Welcome to Riverdale, the most dangerous neighborhood in Chicago. This little nook in the Windy City is about halfway between downtown and Chicago Heights along I-94. If you find yourself lost, don't get off on East 130th Street. That's Riverdale. That's bad. About 1 in 4 people here doesn't work, and entire families make an absurdly low $14,000 a year. Riverdale kind of resembles a third world country in some blocks. Can we interest anyone in a $90,000 house in Riverdale? No? Okay then. Englewood is a pretty notoriously horrible area in Chicago too. Home to about 30,000 people, this hood sits between Garfield and 75th Street on the west side of I-90. 44% of people here live in poverty, and crime is off the charts. There were 40 murders in this neighborhood alone last year. At one point, 100,000 people lived in the Englewood neighborhood. Now it's more like 25,000. And where's the worst neighborhood in the city of Chicago? That would be right next door in West Englewood. This true hood has 35,000 people who live in the worst conditions in the city. It ranks in the bottom 3 in home values and income levels, and in the top 3 for crime. Some Chicago neighborhoods are hard to tell apart, but you can tell when you're in West Englewood though. They're the ones with the 40s, the pistol, a beat-up car, and a pit bull. If you don't live in West Englewood or any of the other Chicago neighborhoods we talked about, you don't have it too badly. Congratulations.